Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth. Minister, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. We'll start off with National Cabinet. Experts have all the answers, though, on solving the housing crisis. Increase supply, decrease tax imposts on new builds. Is it that simple?
Well, look, I'm not going to prejudge what will come out of National Cabinet, but obviously housing's on the agenda. The Prime Minister's made very clear he wants to work with states and territories, particularly focused on supply. And so I'm sure they'll have a very fruitful discussion. I know that all states and territories and the Commonwealth want to work in the same direction to improve housing in this country. And so look forward to seeing the outcomes of National Cabinet.
The Coalition put the blame on the states for inaction, as this crisis has been a decade in the making now, which to a point is true. Are you convinced premiers are on board now?
Well, look, that obviously discussions will happen at National Cabinet. There's been, I think, a willingness to have a conversation about this. But, you know, if the Coalition wanted to do something constructive, then they could actually pass our Housing Future Fund, which would see more supply come into the market. They've blocked that bill in the Parliament, which is a practical action that the Commonwealth is taking for a pipeline of housing. So, you know, rather than sort of complaining and blaming, they could actually get on board and do something practical and helpful.
When it comes to social housing, do you support rental controls or any housing or rental system for that matter?
Well, look, obviously there'll be a discussion around renters' rights at National Cabinet, but as the Prime Minister said, supply is critical when it comes to housing. There's no silver bullet for fixing what is a challenge in housing, but we have some practical action on the ground. We've supercharged funding to the states with the $2 billion to actually support them, get their more social housing online. We obviously have a number of programs around home ownership as well as our Housing Future Fund. So we're taking a lot of steps that look at increasing supply and supporting the states and territories at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you can take those steps, but it really is the states and councils, though, too, that have to drive a lot of it.
Look, planning, of course, is part of it. So that is obviously a really important part of the conversation. But from the Commonwealth level, we're taking really practical steps, and it would be good if the Coalition would get on board.
OK, first action plan to end violence against women today. Minister, how are you going to do it?
Well, look, we have two really important action plans that bring to life our national plan. The first action plan has 10 actions or groups of actions that states and territories and the Commonwealth will work towards. And that includes, for example, better education across policing, justice systems, health systems to better understand the experiences of family and domestic violence. And action is around housing, making sure that there is appropriate crisis as well as long-term housing. But another important element of getting states and territories to work together to support women to stay in their home and actually for the perpetrator to find alternative accommodation. So there is a number of actions. Look, it's not easy. We're backing it up with a $2.3 billion investment, but the focus and the action plans does mean that states and territories and the Commonwealth are pulling in the same direction around some key areas.
Just on that point, though, you know, getting victims to stay in a home with a perpetrator and just simply getting the perpetrator to leave, I mean, that's not easy.
Well, that's not easy. It's one of the areas that states and territories have agreed to look at going forward. We do have a fund, particularly around if the perpetrator has left, how a woman keeps her home safe through extra security measures, for example. Right. So there's a range of different areas that you can address this through.
Right. What extra security measures like? cameras, alarms?
Cameras, changes of locks so that women can afford that, a whole range of measures. I mean, obviously,
Okay.
it needs to meet everyone's individual circumstances, but that's certainly one of the programs that the Commonwealth runs. It's called Keeping Women Safe in Their Homes.
Okay, that announcement coming up later on today. Amanda Rishworth, appreciate your time.